Even though Rockstar had never heard of Lapsus before September 2022, that name would become their worst fear at that time. Grand Theft Auto 6, one of the most awaited games of the modern age, had one of the most well-known hacks and leaks in video game history. During development, the game's gameplay got all over the place, so Rockstar turned on their servers to try to get rid of as much of it as they could. One of the biggest, most intense, and fastest investigations in the history of the video game business was started because of these acts. A year later, we know more about what happened, who did it, why, and most crazy of all, how is all known, which is both impressive and a little bit disturbing. So let's look at the story of the hacker who leaked game information and even tried to sell the next game's source code. Arios Kurtaj, a young man from the UK who was good with computers and technology in general, got together with other teens who were also good with computers and technology. Together, they used their skills to carry out ransom attacks. These attacks happen when a team is attacked and all of its files are protected. The only way to save them is with a password, and what they do is to ask for money in exchange for their files. At the time, Arios Kurtaj, who went by the name White or Breachbase, was 16 years old and started hacking with another 15-year-old. In 2021, they broke into the networks of British internet companies BT and EE and asked for a ransom of £4 million sterling, which is about $5.5 million. The phone companies refused to pay this amount, but Lapsus used the information they got from the SIM cards of their customers to scam several of them. It is thought that they stole more than £1 million sterling, and this is where the British legal system comes in. In January 2022, Kurtai and another young man, whose name is not known because he is still a child, were caught. You might be wondering though, didn't the Rockstar hacks happen in September of that year? Yes, both young guys were freed while their cases were being looked into. And well, if the cops are already watching you, maybe you should try not to break the law. But it wasn't like that. The hacker group was able to get past NVIDIA's protection and steal private information. Pretty much everything about how their GPUs are made and researched. Once they had this information, they put some of it on the internet. Usernames and passwords, design plans, driver codes, and software. But how did they get in? They paid someone to call NVIDIA and say that they were an employee who couldn't get on the network. Also, send a ton of login requests to security workers through Slack, a workplace version of Discord, until one of them approves the access. This was mostly a form of social engineering, where the human element of the systems was used to get into them. From this hacking, a few things came out. The first was their list of requests. They wanted NVIDIA to remove the cap they had put on their graphics cards for crypto mining and to make their GPU drivers open source so they could use the technologies for mining more. But NVIDIA didn't accept because, according to them, they didn't have everything they said they did because they couldn't find any proof on their network. And the other thing is that at this point, it was thought that White had made about $14 million in bitcoins from his crimes. Lapsus also broke into Samsung by sharing source code that was meant to stay secret. They broke into several companies, including Microsoft, Mercado Libre, Okta, Ubisoft, Samsung, T-Mobile, and others, and used a torrent to share some of the source code for Bing and Cortana. It was thought that he got into a fight with another computer group, with whom he may have worked before, and they chose to dox him. This led to the arrest of these two teens. His enemies put up a list of everything he had hacked and all the money he had made. They put this on a hacker site called Pom Pom Purin on the dark web, where information was given about where he lived and what his real name was. Arian and another youth were both caught on March 31st, 2022. However, this was before they were doxxed and their personal information was made public. And since the middle of 2021, the company Unit 221B, which is like a private detective agency but focuses on hacking, had already found him and was following him. Arian was about to be freed on bail and with limits on his internet use, but after he was doxxed, the officials feared for his safety and took him to a hotel in the county of Oxfordshire called the Bicester Travelodge. So, if he was in a hotel with limited access to the internet, computers, and other things, did this mean it was all over? But if you think about it, I haven't even mentioned Rockstar, the Uber hack, or Revolut. Neobank Revolut said in July 2022 that it had been hacked earlier in the year. More than 20 million is being lost. They don't know how the attack happened, but they think the money was stolen because of refunds. The hackers told people to use their cards to make big purchases, which were then turned down. And when the refund was due, it was moved and the money was taken from ATMs. Lapsus was blamed for this attack. Uber also said that it had been hacked in July 2022. The only way to get into its database was to get the username and password of one of its partners, Thycotic, which, unfortunately, was supposed to stop cyber attacks. But a dark website was selling their login and password. Calls from people pretending to be from banks and companies were used to blackmail and scam their way into getting the passwords, where they keep sending requests to join the network to get around two-step authentication. Once inside, the hacker wrote a message on the Slack channel that said, "I announced that I am a hacker and Uber has had a security breach." This brings us to September 2022, when a message popped up in ROCKSTAR's Slack, which had been keeping the new Grand Theft Auto game a huge secret. It said, "I don't work for ROCKSTAR, I'm an attacker." He said that he had gotten all the information about GTA 6, and that if ROCKSTAR didn't contact him on Telegram within 24 hours, he would start leaking the source code. Under the name Teapot Uber Hacker, he posted more than 90 gaming clips on GTA forums to show that what he said was true. When people saw how one of the most anticipated video games ever was played for the first time, the internet went crazy. Arian kept saying that, in addition to GTA 6, he also had the code for GTA 5. Some information about the game, like where it would take place and who the main characters would be, got out because of these leaks. ROCKSTAR said in a statement that they were very upset that any information about their game was leaked in this way, and that they will keep trying to make a game that is better than what they expected. Then it came out that the source code for the game had been sold for $100,000, but Teapot said he hadn't sold it, so someone else got ripped off. All of the posts, movies, and other things on sites and the internet that were about the leak were taken down. ROCKSTAR was naturally upset, and the police started to move in. Now that American companies had been hurt, the FBI was one of them. All of these tricks lead to the same way to do things. But wasn't Arios meant to be in a hotel on bail, away from technology that would let him do this? After this hacking happened in September, London police went to the hotel where Kurtai was staying and found a new phone, a keyboard, a mouse, and an Amazon Fire Stick. With these devices, like a modern MacGyver, he was able to log into the cloud services that he used to hack these companies. With an Amazon Fire Stick hooked up to the TV, what the hell? When Arian Kurtai went to court, he said that he had helped fight Revolut, Uber, and ROCKSTAR with these tools. He was accused of 12 crimes, such as threats, theft, breaking his probation, and more. Among other things, he was thought to have broken into the cloud storage of the London police just before he was caught. Now that Arian was 18, psychologists and therapists looked at him and decided that he was not fit to stand trial because he had autism. The 17-year-old boy, whose name we don't know, had the same thing happen to him. This means that the hearing won't be used to decide how long they should go to jail for their crime. Instead, the trial will only find out if these two young guys really did do these things. If you like this kind of documentals, please subscribe for more content like this. See you on the next video.